On today's show, Locked On Thunder host Rylan Stiles says that SGA has to have a dominant series in order for the Thunder to win the NBA Finals. I don't agree with him. I'll tell you why in today's Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome. You are locked on to NBA Lack of Game Night. That's what I'm calling it. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On NBA your first listen today. Joining me, as always, from Locked On Bucks. What'd you see in the NBA tonight, Camille Davis?
You mean nothing? A lot of nothing?
Lack of game night, but we're talking about the finals.
I was like, I can talk about NBA 2K, but nothing NBA related today. Outside of the finals.
Have you traded Giannis from the Bucks yet? In 2K?
Absolutely not, Nick. You know my stance on this. Over my dead body.
You want to go listen more about that? Locked On Bucks with Camille Davis and Justin Garcia doing this over there. Today's episode, though, we're going to talk about the stars. We're going to talk about SGA. We're talking about Tyrese Haliburton. What do those guys both have to do in order for their teams to win the finals? And then, of course, we'll have some fun playing some Count It Up. I want to talk about Timothée Chalamet. I want to talk about Ben Stiller. I want to talk about Siakam, and I want to talk about the Suns. Those are the things I want to talk about and Count It Up. So we'll get into all that. But let's start here. Stars shine in the NBA Finals. We've just seen over and over again, you've seen players take their team, put them on their back, and that's where teams separate, I think, is seeing some of these stars. You start looking through, I was looking through some of the best series that we've seen from players since 2000. You think about Shaq in 2002. He averaged 36 points a game in that sweep. Kevin Durant on the Warriors averaged 35 points a game in 2017. Giannis in the Bucks, 35 points a game in that series in 2021. Mm-hmm. I was waiting for the Dwayne Wade and Tim Donaghy combined 34 points a game in 2006 for Miami. And you just start going through the list of the players. Jokic averaged 30 a game, and you start to think through what these stars have done, and that's how they separate. And that's why I want to focus on these stars today. Is what do they have to do? What do they bring to their team, whether scoring wise or elsewhere? And so I asked the guys, I asked Rylan, I asked Tony to give us what do they think their stars need to do. And so let's hear from Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder about SGA, what he needs to do for OKC to win the finals.
The Oklahoma City Thunder need their superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to completely and totally dominate the NBA Finals. If he can put together a great series, then you're looking at an all-time historically great season, dating back to his dominance in the regular season, winning him MVP, first-team All-NBA, Western Conference Finals MVP. If he does it in the finals, the trifecta is his, and an all-time great season is his. And he's had a lot of success against Indiana. He's got to be prepared for multiple different looks, though. Rick Carlisle is a genius and a basketball guru, and he's able to make up defenses out of thin air. And so, although in the 2 games against Indiana this season, Shai was incredible,
he doesn't make them out of. Can we just stop for a second?
I was going to say, do you have thoughts on that?
He doesn't make them out of. He doesn't make them out of thin air. That's okay. He is very good at defenses. Some schemes, though.
He's got to be ready for different zone looks, a box and one, maybe just all these different wrinkles that Indiana is going to have to do to him, and all the different bodies Indiana is going to have to show to him. They do not have a number one point of attack defender, and the only way that could help Indiana is by not letting Shai get comfortable and try to solve that specific matchup. They're going to have to just swarm him as soon as he gets to his spots at the elbow and in the mid-range. He's going to have to make the right reads as a playmaker, an area he's really grown in this season, and then he's still going to have to hit tough, uncomfortable shots, something that he's made a living on all season long. So Shai has to be dominant in this series without being out of control. So it's going to be a very interesting battle with a legacy series, really, for SGA. If he wins a title this early in his career, on top of all that he's already done in this league, you really move him up the pantheon of players. So a lot's on the line for SGA and the Thunder, but Shai has to be special.
I'm not with him on the Shai has to be special, has to dominate, like go to that level in order for them to win. I think that this Thunder team can get it done with their defense, and I think they can get just enough points to get it done. And maybe it won't take SGA dropping 35 every single game, like some of those players I mentioned at the top. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you think dominate means. If it's the sense of just controlling the game and it's not necessarily equating to him going off for 30, 35 a game, sure. If it's like about him dictating the flow of the offense, using his drive, using his gravity to create for others, and he has to do that at a high level, that I agree with. But if you're talking just straight scoring, I'm more with you of like, I don't think they need Shai to come in and average 30, 35 points a game. They have enough guys outside of him. If they can just create good looks and knock down open opportunities, I think they're going to be good. And to your point, I think that the defense of the Thunder overall as a collective is going to be the pressure point that really affects the Pacers and helps them go to victory, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just think through what the strength of this Thunder team is. And I think Rylan was taking this in the sense that SGA needs this to have an all-time season, to like to be at that level, to go to the all-time level of some of those Shaq seasons, that Kevin Durant season, the Giannis season, where you get the trifecta, you get the MVP, you get the Finals MVP, you know, or whatever, and scoring title or whatever else you get in that season, and named the best player kind of thing. And I don't think you necessarily need all that from SGA in order for this team to beat the Pacers. Like that's the part where I don't think they need all that.
I just think they need him to be efficient too. One thing I will say for SGA that I'll be looking for in the finals is just the 3-point shooting percentage from him. That piece of his game has just not been as consistent throughout the playoffs as it was for him in the regular season. So when he does get those looks, he has to just knock them down. Like, I don't think we need SGA to go out here and be like, okay, now we need you to take 30 shots a game. And if you don't take 30 shots, we have no chance. Like, if he can get 15, 20 shots or so somewhere in that wheelhouse and can be efficient with it like we saw in the regular season, I think that's really all you need from Shai. Just dictate the pace, set your teammates up, use your gravity, play some defense, and that's what you really need from him for this Thunder team to really take off. Because honestly, they're going to try to take him out the game. So, you got to make sure you're asserting yourself. But, if J-Dub and those others are going to also have to really come up to the table for them.
I think they probably need him to dominate the last, 4 or 5 minutes.
That's fair.
Of a game. And I think that's the area I would agree with in this, because we've seen this Pacers team come back. We've seen this Pacers team, if you don't close them out and if you don't end them, they will come back and they will do something insane, whether it's Nesmith going off for all those threes, Haliburton hitting a wild shot. They'll do some insane things against your team. And
I know.
I think that the Pacers, when the Mavs went to the finals, the Pacers played the Mavs 2 times in a row when they had PJ and Gafford. And those 2 games, the Mavs played so bad their defense played so bad that I called for Jason Kidd's job after it. I was like, it's done. They can't beat them. And then they ended up changing everything about their defense and going to the finals and not playing a team that had an offense like that until they played the Celtics. But that's what this Pacers team can do to you, is get you to a point where you go, man, nothing we're doing is working. Now, this Thunder team is a completely other level of defense that none of these teams have seen yet. But SGA started to look through, and I started to look through who's averaged 30 plus in a finals win since 2000. Shaq in 02, Durant in 2017, Giannis in 21, Wade in 06, Shaq in 01 again, Kobe in 09, Curry in 2022 was 31 points a game, and Jokic in 2023 averaged 30 a game. Does SGA enter that group? Does he become the next one? Because he's averaging 29.8 in these playoffs so far.
That's tough because it's close. It's teetering right on that line, but I don't think he clears 30 proper. I think that he's going to end up probably being around that 29.67, somewhere in there, where it's technically no, but if you want to round up and say he gave you 30, you can. But again, in this series, I just don't think you need that much from SGA, which sounds counterproductive in a way. But I like your point about when he chooses to be assertive. And in those closing minutes, you need that. I forget which game it was against the Wolves, but it felt like it was just him and J-Dub just going back and forth, and back and forth. And the two of them really just closed everything out. So to that, I definitely agree with you on that. But overall, I think for SGA, it's just going to be playing smart, playing efficient, and don't let the Pacers speed you up. Just continue to play the game at your own pace. And he's shown already that he can do that pretty consistently.
LeBron in 2016, by the way, 29.7. LeBron in 2020, 29.8. I think he'll be right on the cusp. Maybe not join this, but I don't know that he needs to completely dominate. Just dominate maybe in certain minutes and close out the Pacers in some of these games. I think that's what's going to be needed. What's needed from Tyrese Haliburton? We'll hear from Tony East of Locked On Pacers on that and more coming up. Today's Locked On NBA Game. Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Open Phone. Do you have this problem with your small business where you've got too many phones and you've got too many different things that are trying to catch your attention and there's too many things to take care of? And so you're like, all right, well, you're trying to wait for a call. First person didn't answer. So then you're like, all right, well, I move on. You need Open Phone because you don't want to be that person. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications. It allows you to manage business calls and text from a single app. It has a shared inbox that features a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a single beat. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering listeners of this show 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA, OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA, all one word. And if you have an existing number on another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night. We have a daily show that covers your favorite team, Locked On Bucks, Locked On Mavs. Got some stuff going on in the offseason. One team maybe acquiring a generational star, one team trading a generational star. Who knows what's going to happen on these?
We'll be tuned in and letting everybody know along the way.
But we also obviously have Locked On Pacers and Locked On Thunder. We heard from Locked On Thunder Rylan Stiles about what SGA needs to do for OKC to win a finals. Let's hear from Tony East of Locked On Pacers about what Haliburton, who is the star, maybe not the Eastern Conference final star, but Haliburton is the star and what he needs to do for the Pacers to win the finals.
The Pacers are in the finals, and for Tyrese Haliburton, the name of the game is going to be ball security. The Thunder are so good in the possession battle. They never turn it over. They force a ton of turnovers by the end of the night. A very good offensive team takes 10 more shots, 15 more shots than their opponent sometimes. The Pacers also like to keep up in the possession battle, and their star, Tyrese Haliburton, is a master at exactly that. Game 4 against the Knicks, the one that put him really on the map with his biggest final or playoff performance of all time. He had 15 assists, no turnovers, right? The 30-point triple-double, no turnovers. An impressive game and one that only he can do. And that's what makes him so good. He can set up his teammates, make the Pacers offense hum, move the ball without ever messing up or rarely messing up. The Thunder have great defenders and will try to make him make those mistakes and then score in the open floor. For Haliburton to give the Pacers offense a chance to keep up with the Thunder defense, he has got to be great taking care of the ball and giving the Pacers a shot in the possession game.
People have talked about this so much. I just want to be another person that does it. It's insane to watch him do what he does, how fast he does it, how loose he is with the ball, the way that he throws some of these passes, and how he gets himself into trouble so often and bails himself out because he's big and he can see, and he does the jump pass because jump passes are good now apparently. That's been a phrase that Pacers media people have used a lot, and Haliburton has used, I think, even. But that has been his superpower, is to be as loose and as fast and to not turn the ball over. We saw that Warriors team for their whole run, and even now, be loose with the ball and turn it over, and then their defense and some other things and their three-point shooting make up for it. This Pacers team doesn't need to make up for it because they don't turn the ball over, but they're still loose with it.
Yeah, Haliburton, he processes the game so quickly. And I think that's one of his superpowers here, is because it doesn't really matter what you're throwing at him. More times than not, he's looking ahead to the next move of okay, I see this coming. I'm going to make this decision. And every star has an ego to a certain degree, but Haliburton does not have an ego in the sense of I have to go out there and get my points. He is a true point guard, old school type of point guard of I don't mind passing the ball. I like passing the ball. I like setting guys up. And to have that mentality, to have that processing speed, in addition to being a player that does not turn the ball over often, that's a winning combination. That is going to be the Pacers' saving grace, I think, in this series against the Thunder, who we know they're a turnover machine. They have forced more turnovers than any other team while averaging fewer on offense than any other team that's gotten past the first round so far. They have done a fantastic job with that, but luckily Haliburton is also one of the lowest turnover guards in the league, and Indiana is one of the lowest turnover rate teams in the league, and they have been in the playoffs as well. So with him controlling the tempo, that's going to be a good piece for them.
What do you think about all the different types of players that OKC can throw at him? Because this is not going to be a Mikal Bridges tries, OG Anunoby tries. They'll throw some other guys at, or Josh Hart tries. They have so many different guys. Jalen Williams may get a chance. You probably see Cason Wallace. You'll definitely see Alex Caruso. Like Lou Dort will probably start on him. Like there's just so many different guys they can throw at him. What do you think about the difference between the level of defender?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system a bit. Like you think about the game that the Knicks did get over the Pacers when they were able to extend the series there. And that was the one time where it felt like that Knicks defense was smothering. And it felt like the Pacers really didn't know how to operate outside of that. And that was one good game from the Knicks that had two weak defenders with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the court for a majority of the time. With the Thunder, that's not going to be the case. And even if you look at the regular season numbers that Haliburton had against the Thunder, he averaged just over 12 points a game against the Thunder this year, which is the fewest against any opponent, attempted fewer shots when guarded by Dort than any other defender. So like the torture chamber is a real thing. And if the whistle continues to be the way it has been for the Thunder, where they can play that really, really physical defense, they're going to also try to speed up Haliburton and try to force him into making mistakes. And if they can do that, slow him down in the scoring and also speed him up in the sense of his processing, it's going to be a short series for the Pacers.
Yeah. This series to me feels a lot like last year's, where the Thunder are the Celtics and the Mavs are the Pacers, where the Mavs kind of came out of nowhere. The Pacers have now kind of come out of nowhere, but they were a team that was really hot at the end of the season when everybody's talked about how good the Pacers were from January on. And like they're going to run into a team that plays this different style than anybody else they've faced so far. And I think it's going to be very interesting because it was evident early on in that finals last year. You're like, oh, this Celtics team is different than anybody that this Mavs team has played. And Luka's not healthy enough to deal with this. Kyrie is not ready enough to deal with this, apparently, in Boston. And so I'm curious how that plays itself out. Because it may be a shock to a system where we're all excited about this Pacers team, but then they face this team. You go, oh my gosh, that style is just so different. But then same thing can be said about the Pacers offense compared to the Thunder's defense. They haven't seen that yet, even though they've played Jokic.
Yeah, that Pacers offense, what makes it so dangerous is the fact that it can come from everywhere and they move the ball. So they stress your defense in so many different ways. But because the Thunder have the individual defenders that they have, I do wonder if they decide we're going to switch a lot more and we're going to live with the results. Because if the Pacers start to hunt mismatches and you get out of the flow of the offense where it's Haliburton bringing the ball up, really kind of scoping the scene, making the right passes, and instead they go mismatch hunting because they see, oh, look, Miles Turner ended up on Carson Wallace or whatever the case may be. Like, we're going to try to do something with this. That could also get the Pacers in trouble of not playing their game and just trying to say like, hey, we see there's a mismatch. We want to take advantage of it, but they can also play into the Thunder's hands. So it's a tough problem to solve. But I mean, honestly, I think about any team that came out of the East was going to have a problem with what the Thunder can present.
Yeah. We talked about Cavs and Celtics all season, and I think even they would have come into their issues too. Do you think Case and Wallace wants to be Carson, since so many people call him Carson? Do you think at some point in his life he was like, I should just change my name because everybody just calls me Carson?
You know, the difficult names. Yeah, my husband has an uncommon name, and I know that can be irritating. So my bad. I didn't mean to mess up your name like that. My bad.
Former Dallas Mavericks draft pick, Case and Wallace. So I gotta stand up for him.
I feel it.
Haliburton didn't win the Eastern Conference. He didn't win the Larry Bird Trophy. He didn't win the Eastern Conference Finals trophy. And so, are we talking about the wrong guy here? Should we be talking about what Siakam can do to get his team a win, or are we right to focus on Haliburton as the best player?
I think for Haliburton, it's because he sets up the offense, but Siakam has been the most consistent offensive weapon for this team, even going back to the regular season of just what he can give you consistently. So I think that's part of what makes the Pacers so interesting in this whole case study of how teams are being built and going forward. Like, do you need a superstar? Can you get two stars and kind of pair them together and have the depth around them and continue to go forward? But I think Siakam is actually going to be that guy who leads the Pacers in scoring in the finals. Not Haliburton, no one else. It's going to probably Pascal Siakam, I think. So I think he deserves a little time here, a little shine, because Eastern Conference, finals winner, MVP winner, and again, just a consistent bucket. Also, a guy with championship experience on this Pacers team that does not have much of it.
True, absolutely true. I think there's a difference between who the defense schemes against and who is able to go get a bucket because the defense is being bent to Haliburton. That's what I think that the difference is in this right here. It's almost like the Jamal Murray Jokic. Like the defense is bending to Jokic, but sometimes Jamal Murray will score more points because, the defense is being bent to Jokic. And so Jamal Murray will get more opportunities and mismatches in that way. Coming up, it's time to play. It's time to play Count It Up, where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including Timothy Chalamet's Black Magic, Ben Stiller getting quote tweeted, and more. We'll get into that. Come on. Locked on NBA games.
Big chicken, baby.
I think a lot. I'm very smart.
Take that for that.
Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
It is Count It Up, where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. This week, it was insane to watch the stars on the side of the Knicks games, but then to see those stars like Ben Stiller and Timothy Chalamet and others make their way to Indianapolis. And Kylie Jenner posted on Instagram her travel bag to Indiana for the Knicks game. She was traveling with her boyfriend, Timothy Chalamet. She even included Knicks-themed lingerie. Like everything in the bag was Knicks-themed in it, including lingerie that was Knicks-themed. My question is,
Count it up.
What kind of black magic does Timothy Chalamet have? What has he obtained to get not only an LA girl, a mother, and a billionaire to go to Indianapolis on a Saturday night? Like what is he doing over there?
I mean, the internet has pointed out, even when you see the two of them together, like she is far more affectionate than you've ever seen her in any past relationships. It has to be some type of magic, like you said. And this is a show where we have sponsors and we can't say certain things. So I'm just going to say the adults probably have been there a time or two when certain things happen, and it changes your entire disposition going forward.
I just could not believe, like the fact that she was in Indianapolis on the game for that game 6 was just absolutely wild to me. Ben Stiller, also a celebrity that was at the side of the Knicks games, and he got into it on Twitter. He quote tweeted a video of Haliburton dressed in all black entering the tunnel for game 6 and said, quote, "Good thing he brought his duffel for the flight to New York." Haliburton after the game clapped back and responded, "Nah, was to pack y'all up." My question is,
Count it up.
Closer to cool response or cocky response?
It's cool. It's cool. And I've given Haliburton a lot of flack because of the front running allegations. You can see it in games and whatnot. I came from a family where if you're going to start the trash talk, you better start immediately. And if you keep losing, you got to continue it. You started something, so you better continue it. But in that situation, Ben Stiller started it. So he just kind of came back at the end, cleaned it up. And I'm not mad at that one. I'm
with you. If you end it, you get to end it. Right?
Yeah.
Like you went out and showed it, and I don't know, maybe Ben Stiller playing could have helped. Like, but Haliburton went out there and ended that next run. And so then you get to say whatever you want at that point. That's
a fact. I'm with that.
You don't have to act like you've been there before because he hasn't.
No, be excited. I mean, he's doing all like every series. He has the little video that comes out, like the behind the scenes and watching him experience it and all that. Like I will say this though. The Steve Urkel hooping allegations on Tyrese Haliburton, that I'm with that one. It looks similar.
Pascal Siakam won the Larry Bird trophy over Haliburton. Haliburton even stepped forward when they mentioned the Larry Bird trophy because he thought it was him with a little Drewski celebrity game moment. And when the award was announced, that he lost it 5-4. My question is,
Count it up.
How bad did the 9 voters mess up? Or did they?
I don't think they messed up at all. I think that's the closest that you can get. 5-4 is the closest you can get, unless it was like 3-4-2 or something like that. But in the sense of between these two players, like it's pretty close. And we had the conversation as well of like, yes, Haliburton is the offensive engine. He helps dictate the flow and everything like that. But Siakam has been just a consistent presence, offensively and defensively too, as well. So I don't think they got it wrong in this one. Like Siakam was the guy, even though in game 1 he messed up my prize picks parlay because he didn't get the points I needed. And every game after that he surpassed that. But I'm not holding it against him. I think they got it right.
No, they got it wrong. Haliburton was the better player. Haliburton was the one you had to change your defense for. You had to bend the defense for. The way we talked about it in this last segment is I think they got it wrong, and it should have been Haliburton. They got it wrong last year with Jalen Brown and Tatum. They did it again. You just overthink it. They got it wrong with Andre Iguodala and Steph Curry and all that.
I mean, Siakam had a big game too. He had a big game.
Good for him.
4, 6. Like I get what you're saying. And I do think your point about how Haliburton bends the offense or the defenses and it helps the other guys looks is a good one. But like, I can't be mad at Spicy P for getting this one because he did his thing in this series.
The Phoenix Suns, according to Shams Charania, have narrowed their head coaching search down to 2 finalists from the Cleveland Cavaliers, associate head coach Johnny Bryant and assistant Jordan Ott. Sources tell ESPN. Both will meet with Suns owner Matt Ishbia in Michigan ahead of hiring as soon as later this week. My question for this one is,
Count it up.
how many dang updates do we need on this Phoenix Suns coaching search? I feel like we've gotten every single one of them. I saw Zach Lowe make this joke too, where it was like, they have 10, now they have 9, now they have 7, now they have 6, now they have 2, and now it's like, it's just been every single step of this. Why do we need all these? My actual question is, how many updates do we actually need for this?
I mean, you really probably only need finalists. Like maybe you can start with like the general pool of here's everybody's coming in, here are the finalists, and here's our decision. So really 3 updates is all I really need when it comes to a coaching search. 3. Give me 3 updates and 3 only. But maybe the Suns are overcompensating a bit after how this past season is gone. And some of the things that their owner has said about how 26 other teams want to be in their position. So, they have to show they're serious. They got to show they're real serious right now.
We're trying to fix this. 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 I feel like every single time I get a Suns alert on something like that, it's we're trying to fix this. We're trying to fix it. Promise we're trying to fix it. Like
I believe
over and over again. I don't need all that. All right, last one. Lost in the Knicks season ending. This was a Reddit post that I saw today that kind of blew me away. Lost in the Knicks season ending this weekend. Jalen Brunson, 1,700 points. Has passed Luka Doncic just under 1,700 points in total playoff points. Wow. He is only 14 points shy away from passing Damian Lillard.
Wow.
1,715 points. My question.
Count it up.
Is Jalen Brunson back to being underrated again?
I think, I've said it. I think Jalen Brunson has one of the best contracts in the NBA right now based on his production.
Tell me about it.
So, like, I think it's fair to say he might be a bit underrated at this point, given what he is doing, given what he's being paid and what he's tasked to do. Like, I didn't realize he was climbing up the playoff scoring leaderboards like that. Like, that's impressive. And I know he's the focal point of their offense. So someone might be like, well, of course he got all them points, but also he's the focal point of their offense. So
you don't just get there.
Scheming, right?
You don't just wake up one day and they go, hey, you're the focal point of the offense. Go out there. And I know everybody thinks, well, if you give any NBA player 20 shots, they can score 20 a game, but this is different. Like he passed Luka and now he's gonna pass Damian Lillard soon here too, which is
probably next year. Yeah.
Absolutely wild. I thought that number blew me away. I did not think that.
How do you feel about that, Nick?
Well, considering that stat includes 2 players that should be still the backcourt of the Dallas Mavericks.
I mean,
it's tough. It's a tough one. It should be still Brunson and Luka. We were on record during the Brunson whole fiasco that they should just give him the max. Just give him the max, which would have been a little bit more than he's making in New York, but that would have been an underpaid too.
Yeah, based on what he's doing, absolutely.
Then you don't get Kyrie, then you maybe don't go to the finals, but I don't know. You still have 2 great scorers, and did Brunson need to spread his wings? Like, I don't know. I think he could have spread his wings enough. Go check out Locked On Thunder, Locked On Pacers. Great stuff all the time. Locked On NBA with Matt and Hayes and Dave, Doug, all kinds of great stuff. I said Matt and Dave like it was Locked On Bulls back in the day. Go check out that show on this feed. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA Game Night. Boom.